This is the Gigabyte Z170XP SLI. Basically, what you get is you get the box, which gives you sort of the highlights of the product and that. Nothing particularly significant inside the box. You get your I/O plate. You get a nice little connector for all your buttons on the front panel of your case, an SLI bridge, and a few SATA cables. Now onto the important stuff. This board is one which we chose after a lot of very careful research. And we went specifically with Gigabyte's ultra durable series because both myself and one of the other owners have had very good experiences with their boards. I'm actually still running a Gigabyte ultra durable board as one of my gaming / media PCs, and that's been running for, I think, for 10 years without any issues, and all the other boards I have from that generation has died out over the years. Basically, the board itself, the reason why we went for this board is durability and future compatibility. This is one we highly recommend at Easy Gamer, because this is the kind of board you'd buy and you'd probably still have it running somewhere 10 years down the line. The highlights of the board is it's socket 1151, which supports your 6th generation of the lower i7 and i5 processors. It's the 65 to 91 TDP power watt category. It supports dual channel DDR4, 4 DIMMs, so 2 DIMMs on each channel. Basically what a channel is that's a pathway into the CPU for the RAM. So if you have dual channel, it means you can have double the bandwidth than what if it was just all one single channel. It has 3 PCI Express slots here to support graphics cards. It does support SLI and Crossfire. And other than that, the basics, it's got a very nice audio setup. It's actually got isolated audio setup where it's completely separated from the rest of the board by insulation, and it's got its own built-in amp. This is all just to improve audio quality. And on the back panel, it's got 6 connectors for the audio. Everything seems to be covered nicely with heat sinks. In the Gigabyte, we know, use very good quality capacitors, so they again tend to last. And now we get on to one of the main reasons for this board and that is future compatibility. Gigabyte has chosen to include a M.2 slot, which is not only SATA compatible, but also has 4 PCI Express lanes that it can use. That means if you're looking to get the insanely fast M.2 SSDs, the connector actually supports up to 32 gigabits per second, which for what's currently available on the market means you can use any of the M.2 SSDs in here. And it supports up to the length 80, which is the longest one that's currently available, which is a very nice setup. It has also got some overclocking functionality, such as the Turbo B clock, which gives you a wider range of options. It gives you smaller increments for overclocking. Although this is not really a board focused on overclocking, you can use it as such. And again, being future compatible, it's something we thought might be useful if a few years down the line you decide to upgrade it or put an unlocked processor in it. Then onto hard drive connectivity. At the back here we have SATA Express ports, 3 of them. Now the SATA Express is basically 2 normal SATA 3 ports with an extra connector. So it's got 6 SATA 3 ports, of which, or it can function as 3 SATA Express ports. Now the SATA Express gives you a much higher bandwidth. It gives you 16 gigabits per second bandwidth as opposed to the 6 gigabits per second, which for SSDs is a wonderful thing, as in most of our personal setups were always limited by the SATA speed of the the connectors, as the SSD technology is already there to support faster ones. At the time of making this video, SATA Express SSDs haven't come to the market yet, but it is something we're waiting for very eagerly, as that should dramatically increase the potential performance of the computer. If we move on to the back panel here, this is the next part of future compatibility comes in. We have got a red USB connector. The green one is USB 3, which most of you will be familiar with, but the red one is USB 3.1. This doubles the bandwidth of USB 3. This standard shape of USB connector is a type A port, which is the one most people are familiar with. So this is a 10 gigabits per second type A port, but the very nice thing for future compatibility is this board includes a USB type C port, which is also USB 3.1, so again the very high speed. And this is the connector which most people expect to replace micro USB. Nice thing of it is you can also put quite a lot of power through it. So for example, in some of the MacBooks, they're using them already as a USB port and a power in for the laptop. So this is a very, very useful connector for future compatibility. While we're on the subject of future compatibility, another reason for this board is the opposite, backwards compatibility. If you're looking to build a new PC but still have an older screen, this board is an excellent option if you're using onboard graphics, because you've got HDMI for newer displays, but you've also got your DVI and your old-fashioned connector here. So if you still have an old keyboard and mouse and things you want to use in an old screen, that you'd be able to still use them on your new computer. It's even still got the old keyboard and mouse PS2 plug, just some of the gamers prefer it, and it also helps for being able to use old parts which are still in perfectly good condition. Other than that, all you've got at the back here is the LAN connector, some normal USB 2 ports, and again your audio, which we've already touched on. So that's the basics of the board. Now, to give you an idea just quickly of the size of the board and what it looks like if you connect some graphics cards on here, just brought along a few sample graphics cards. Here we have a Gigabyte 950 Extreme Gaming, which is one of our better boards. If you were to put that into the SATA slot, you'd see you actually don't reach your PCI Express ports here, which is wonderful if you can manage that, because it makes it a lot easier adding hard drives later on if the ports are still easily accessible. If however you want to go for something a little larger, like here we have a 980 Ti also from Gigabyte, the G1 Gaming. If you slot that in there, you can still plug them in, but you will probably have to remove the graphics card. There's plenty of space height-wise, so you've definitely got space for the cables and the connectors to fit in here, but you're blocking in the first port, you're blocking access to them. You still have 4 ports available here, which is nice and convenient, which is reachable, but if you go for a SLI configuration, you block those ports as well. But at least they're facing backwards and not facing upwards. The boards that have them facing upwards is a nightmare as soon as you start going for a larger graphics card. But yes, so that is a review of this board. We highly recommend it. It is great value for money. We actually use it in our own setups that use this chipset, purely because in terms of bang for buck, you have all the features of the larger boards. You have got the ultra durable components. The only reason why I could see moving to a larger version of this, which is about double the price, is if you want more M.2 connectivity. But specifically at this stage, the M.2 SSDs are really, really expensive. And if you're willing to wait a little bit, the PCI Express SSDs are going to be available, and then the one M.2 should not be an issue. Hopefully the PCI Express SSDs are going to take off and become cheaper than the M.2, as at the moment the M.2 ones are very, very expensive if you want the high-speed ones. The normal SATA ones are similarly priced, but the high-speed ones are insanely expensive. And that's basically the board. There's plenty of connectors on it for fans as well. You've got your input here for additional power for the motherboard, for CPU and PCI Express reasons. It's got 2 connectors for USB-free front panel. It's got all your backwards compatible connectors there. It's even got a connector here if you still have one of those old printer ports. You can buy that separately. You can get a connector where you can plug that directly into the motherboard. So in terms of compatibility, this is an excellent board. You've got for backwards compatibility as well, PCI ports still, and the smaller PCI Express ports for the newer cards. So as an overall package, we at Easy Gamer basically looked through every possible motherboard we could find and spent literally weeks researching motherboards. And this is the one that, as of when this video is made, we recommend as an overall best place to buy in terms of value versus having everything to stay future compatible and making your life easy by not having to throw away old hardware. Thank you.